that I may request, depending on how well we go through the rest of the content next week, because technically we have next week, we have all of next week, and then our final class will be on a following Monday. But depending on how we go through next week, because we have two classes next week, Monday and Thursday, then we'll have one more class the following Monday to wrap up our 21 days. I may request that we may have one more live class. I'm not so sure. So it just depends on how we get through the content and if everybody's okay with, the pace. So I would love a little bit of feedback before we get into tonight and before we get into like getting your direct feedback about your parantulas. I'm just curious, how's the pace for everybody so far?
Well, I'm having a crazy week. So honestly, I have not had a chance to look back at, I haven't had a chance to look back at the brand pillars and all of that.
Okay.
So sorry, I'm having elder care issues as well. And
Oy.
just been, one of those times. So, but I'm here tonight because even though I didn't do my homework, I'm here because I want to be present.
I want you to be, and it's okay. I mean, the thing is that you may discover certain things in tonight's class that could help you towards doing.
I think I made an appointment to work with you next week.
Okay.
So, I promise I'll catch up over the weekend.
Okay, no problem. Oh, and that's another thing. Well, thank you for pointing that out as well. I am going to be scheduling a few appointments as well for each of you, whether you choose to do them like as we finish Brandcubator, you want to kind of have a one-on-one before we wrap up. That's up to you, but I'll be sharing a link with you guys as well. So you all are getting a complimentary session with me, or it's a built-in session with me anyway. If you wanted to schedule something else, then that's fine too. But yeah. So feedback from everybody else though. I know everyone is overwhelmed, but what I'm curious about is like the pace of your assignments and the lessons and the live classes. Do you think, because remember you guys are helping me to validate this too, do you think that this is a reasonable pace going forward? Do you think it should be spread out more?
Can you hear me, Anika?
Yes, I can hear you now, Yvonne.
I don't know what's happening. It keeps on like something is rebooting, but I can see the screen, but I can't see any faces at all. Anyway, I think just a little. I think we're all overwhelmed. Well, I'm very overwhelmed with a lot of stuff going on. I don't think the pace is too fast.
Okay.
I do like the reminders. I do like the prompts, and I don't think it's too much. It really does help me. I would say.
Uh-oh, we lost Yvonne.
Yeah.
Anybody want to add on that while we wait?
I think the pace is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because I think it's just we're all juggling a lot right now.
Well, let me ask you something, because all of you are solopreneurs anyway. So even if life was not incredibly hectic for whatever reason right now, your life generally speaking is hectic.
Yes, so it is.
Is it that maybe this would be better off for other solopreneurs instead of being a 21-day, being maybe a 30-day? Like
a 30-day and maybe once a week?
Once a week.
Yeah, but because we know we have access to you even on WhatsApp and all of that. I think once a week and we could still communicate and you would still respond. And because we're in a group now, because before we were in the group, even though I didn't have time to respond to everything, even today, I just picked up the phone and I saw Yvonne's breakthrough and I thought, wow, that's awesome. I just haven't even had a chance to write and say, wow.
Yeah.
Because, just because of the pace. But as you said, we're solopreneurs. So It's always like this because you're always balancing things.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is helpful. Okay, Yvonne is here now. Let's just add her back. Let's wait till she connects. Yeah, Yvonne, you were saying?
I'm not sure what's happening. I'm just saying that I don't think the pace is too fast. I think it's just really for me to find time because it's very critical in terms of what I'm doing now, where I'm at. So if the timing could not be better, but it's just that I think the timing being so good, it also means we're all very overwhelmed. The fact that we need this program means we're trying to really fine tune our lives and refine our brand,
Well, let me touch on what Diane was mentioning right when you had gotten cut off. I was saying that even regardless of like current circumstances, because you all are solopreneurs, it would be hectic nonetheless. So what I was asking is, do you think that maybe a 30-day versus a 21-day Brandcubator would be more reasonable? And Diane had mentioned that it would be helpful for her, and also probably shifting from meeting twice a week to once per week. So I just dropping that in there if you have any feedback where that's concerned, or if you wanted to add anything else.
I think the 30 days is not a bad idea either, but I would maintain the twice a week. I do like the live sessions. I find it helps to keep me, it keeps me accountable. I have to kind of rush to get that done because I don't want to come to the class as unprepared as, So I do like the twice a week.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Nika, I have not, well, this is my first one, but for my part, I am in agreement about the once a week because I feel a little flustered. The A student in me wants to do all of the assignments, and so when I see daily things coming in and I haven't gotten, because of life, to do the preceding assignment, then I start to feel like, oh no, I'm falling behind and I'm not going to be able to catch up, or I'm not going to be able to participate fulsomely. So for my part, I already feel, oh
you
no.
feel overwhelmed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Because I care for a little bit of context and background. Before I had been thinking about doing a 21-day kind of process. Actually, as a matter of fact, I originally started thinking that I'd do it as a 90-day process. Because really we're covering a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my original thinking was that over the 90 days, I would show you how to build a brand and then move it into launch. So by the end of the 90 day, you would have actually set up your funnel and you're literally in the process of launch. It's all well and good to do that or to move people into that other phase later. But then when I had put out for feedback, people said 90 days was too long. And then when I've done boot camps before, which was like 7 days, people were saying 7 days is too short, because that was like an intensive. So the 7-day actually was, no, it was I can't remember. Yeah, it was 7 days. So there were 3 live classes or 4 live classes, and then there were 3 days off. So it was every other day there were live classes. And that was an intensive, and then people were saying that was too much. So I thought 21 days might be a nice middle ground, but it's still a lot. So I want to just know what is feedback. Yeah. Yes, I just want to know what is most feasible and manageable, because it has to be manageable to you guys. And my audience for this is solopreneurs. So is that not going to change? Everybody going to stress out. Everybody's going to be stretched. So let's see how it continues. My plan is to have another test group in June. So basically, as your cohort finishes, I'll have like a basic, like a 2-week off scenario, and then I'll move into another cohort. And then I wouldn't launch the actual product until perhaps August, if not September. So I'm planning on having at least one more test cohort. So your feedback is invaluable to me. I see you, Yvonne, and your beautiful background.
My gosh, not sure what happened there.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, yeah, keep giving me the feedback. So frankly, I just want to know, I know Diane had mentioned that she did not get through her brand pillars. Angel, I can assume that you didn't manage to get through yours either, yeah? Okay, Yvonne, you got through any of your brand pillars?
Not really, no.
All right, no worries. All right, I do have a feeling that Gail may have gotten, because Gail has done boot camps with me. I can't remember if she did the content planning boot camp or if she did the creative one only, or she did both. Honestly, I can't remember. But she may have a little bit of context for what we're going to talk about tonight. So let me just do a quick recap and then we'll go into things. All right, so we're recording and I will share the link to this as well. So tonight is about creating your content truth. As a quick review, you had gone through the process of basically trying to identify your niche. So, oh, let me turn on my lamp. It's getting dark. Right. So you had basically gone through the process of identifying your niche, using online tools to validate that process, and from identifying the true individual of who you want to communicate, or drilling it down. And of course, this is an ongoing process. The purpose of that was for you to then create your statement of purpose. So if in the traditional sense of a mission and vision of a company or business, if your mission is your what and your vision is your when, then your statement of purpose is your why. And that's really the foundation for everything that we're doing going forward. So as you can imagine, if you are setting that foundation or laying the foundation, the next step then is to start putting up your pillars. And that was the following element, which was creating the brand pillars. So your brand pillars really is informed by your audience, just like the statements of purpose. Your brand pillars are supposed to somewhat tackle your why, your who, as in who you want your brand to be portrayed as, or how you want your brand to be portrayed as, the perception of your audience or your assumed perception that your audience would have of your brand, how you want to position the brand, and how you want to go about promoting your brand. Let me go through this. So in terms of what we're doing in terms of laying the foundation, we're in this inner circle right now, the core strategy, which is identifying your brand pillars. And it says 5 brand pillars because if you look on any kind of marketing material, you'll typically find these in terms of how people are supposed to guide you in creating your brand pillars. But when it comes down to identifying your personal brand pillars, you could have 3, you could have 4, you could have 5. I generally don't go over 5 where clients are concerned. I think 4 is a nice number. My personal brand only has 3. But let's jump ahead. We're in that inner center right now, the inner core of identifying your brand pillars, creating the foundation, creating the strategy. And then our next step is to go into messaging and positioning. So I'm going to start touching on that gently tonight. All right. Okay, so let me just read this through just for recap's sake. So let's see. as you approach your build out for your brand, it is essential for you to remember that everything I'm telling you right now is basically a guide. If you find something else that works for you, work with it. I, however, have used this. I think it's a good strategy. I am open to any other suggestion. But the one rule of thumb is for you to understand that your brand strategy is going to evolve. It's not a matter of if, it is going to evolve. It's going to happen. You can imagine how many people had to revise their brand strategies because of the pandemic. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So generally speaking, it's advised that you assess your brand strategy every year. So that means, are you still serving these brand pillars? Is this a good direction for you, right? When you start building out your messaging and how you're positioning your brand and how you start marketing your brand, then you'll then realize that you may have to be assessing your messaging and your marketing efforts at least on a 6-month basis, right? When I'm creating strategy, I go by 3-month increments, and most companies do that anyway. So always remember that this is an ongoing process and you must be willing to evolve with it. Right now, we're setting the foundation, but things can get shaky and you have to be willing to adjust. Okay. So just a recap, because I know everybody has to go back and kind of look back on their brand pillars. You are thinking about your personal brand and it has to come from you, but it has to be informed by your audience. So in understanding your brand's purpose, you have to have an idea of what's the purpose of, what does my target audience, what do they feel their purpose is? Are they craving purpose? Do they want me to help them find their purpose? You know, what's their type of personality? How do they wish to be perceived? I think I had given the example for Diane, for her clients, that her clients may want to be perceived as the all-natural spa technician, or someone who gives extra pampering, or someone who is holistic and into crystals and herbs. So it's really about how your audience wants to be perceived, what their personality is, how they want to be positioned in life. Yvonne, you have come up, oh my gosh, can we just celebrate Yvonne for a moment with her moment of clarity today and her breakthrough? I'm so happy for this woman. We've come a long way, Yvonne.
Thanks.
Yvonne, it looks really great.
Thank you so much, Diane. Thanks.
This
Angel,
has been a process.
Yeah, I've been struggling for a while, Angel. So,
Aw, congrats.
So happy. But with what Yvonne has put in her statement of purpose, you can see that she has identified how she wants her, or how she perceives her audience wants to be perceived and positioned in life or in business or through her consultancy. So all of these things are very important. So just a little recap, and we're gonna go into tonight's lesson, but you are not getting an assignment tomorrow. Your assignment is supposed to be to identify your brand pillars. Okay. Okay. And I had shown you guys what my brand pillars were. And that's in the recording. So if for Angel, you could just like fast forward through Monday's recording just to get an idea of what my brand pillars are. So I think one of them was like raw authenticity. The other one was doing digital differently. And then the other one was something like paying it forward. See, I don't even remember them by heart. But for context, the raw authenticity, and these were brand pillars I had created last year, like April, and they have had to adjust. And I am actually revising my own brand pillars now. But for context, when I talk about the raw authenticity, it was to be able to really connect with my target audience. So I want to connect with other solopreneurs who crave authentic conversations, who want to be seen and be heard in spaces that they traditionally kind of maybe have to put a face on for. That way they can feel comfortable in coming to me with for strategy and realizing that I'm really here to help you to connect to your truth in whatever that sense is. Okay. I think the other one was doing digital differently, which I mean, I focus on digital marketing, even though I do marketing strategy. But the doing digital differently was to help me to differentiate and position myself within the industry. So I'm a little bit more quirky. I am a little bit more edgy with how I communicate. If I'm not doing the typical stuff that is out there in the market. I'm doing brand studies that involve Playboy. I'm using acronyms like BDSM to explain marketing terms. So that is my edge. And then the last one was, it's had something to do with paying it forward. So in terms of the clients that I look for and work intimately with, one of my requirements is that they have to be in a business or in a field in which they are offering something to benefit their own audience. So it can't just be about money. There has to be some sort of law of reciprocity that happens. So those are my brand pillars for context. Okay. All right. So tonight, any questions? Any questions before I move on?
No, I'm good.
You good? Okay.
Yep.
Yvonne, you're good?
I'm good. Yeah. For
Awesome.
promotion, just one question. Purpose was why, personality was what, personality is who, perception is what, position is where. What is promotion?
Promotion was how?
How? Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problemo.
Mhm.
All righty. So content truth. All right. So this is actually one of my staple presentations that I have either incorporated in some manner or another with like the guest presentations that I've done before. And this one is one of my favorites. So I have a question for each of you. Now that you have an idea of what your statement of purpose is, you may have an idea of who you're talking to. I want to ask you, what are you selling? Just fling out the idea. What are you selling? Selling, loosely selling. Well,
Healing
everybody's
products.
selling
I'm
something.
selling many things. I'm selling, if I'm wearing the cap as a consultant, I am
Mhm.
selling my services as a consultant, focusing on responsible tourism development and training in a number of areas that are strategic and
Mhm.
supportive of sustainability and tourism development in the Caribbean. If I'm wearing my NGO hat, I'm looking at trying to address the needs of the community, particularly the indigenous community, and looking at really inculcating holistic training and education for sustainable development, meaning whatever it is to meet the needs of the community for economic and social needs and inculcating the 7th generation philosophy. If I look at Dominica Tours, I'm looking at bringing the best of the Caribbean to the world through my new Conscious Caribbean tourism and educational exchanges.
Brush
So
off your
this,
shoulder,
my
Yvonne. Brush it
conscious
off.
Caribbean, my Conscious Caribbean is maybe what I should have started off with, which is my bridging. So through Conscious Caribbean, I offer consultancy services, I offer destination management services, as well as through the NGO, I offer education and training for sustainable development, tourism development, linked to creating entrepreneurial opportunities for young people.
Okay.
So
Okay. Who's next?
that's kind of where my head is at and my heart.
Who's next? Who's next? You have to brush off your shoulder a little bit though, Yvonne. Give me a little. There we go. There we go.
Angel,
Nice.
I'm dying to hear from you,
Up your
Angel.
collar,
You're
something.
getting me hungry now. I better go and get some more tea. I just had some nuts and tea.
All right, who's next?
Hot chocolate.
What are you selling, Diane?
I'm selling a healing aromatherapy natural line.
Okay. All right. Angel, what are you selling?
What am I selling? I've been thinking about that. It's a good question. So, Diana and Ivana, I'm an attorney, but my desire is to move into life coaching. So it's not a product, it would be a service. And what am I selling? A doable path to breaking poor habits, negative thinking. I'm selling a way forward. But
I
does
like
that sound
that.
too vague?
No, I like it.
No,
I like
it's a
it.
start.
Write that down if you haven't already. A way forward. That's actually that's a nice nugget.
Mhm.
Okay, so there are actually no wrong or right responses to this. I am hearing my WhatsApp. Just give me 1 second. Let me close this thing. Hold on. Oh, I thought it was closed already. All right, cool. All right, so I always ask this question when I'm in like the large webinars, and I love seeing the responses. But what it boils down to, especially when you're thinking about creating content, especially when you have figured out what your brand pillars are, your next step is now to create what I call your content recipe, and how you translate those brand pillars into content, which is essentially the connecting mechanism to reach your audience. It's not just about ads, especially if you're selling something like a way forward. You have to be able to really connect with your audience in a very meaningful way. Even if you're selling healing aromatherapy, or you are selling training in sustainability or tour packages, there's a little nugget that I have created. So I call this your LPP. Now, your LPP stands for the fact that you are either selling one of or a combination of these products. So you're either selling a lifestyle, you're either selling a passion, or you're either selling a purpose, or some sort of combination of the three. Okay. So for Yvonne sells purpose. Are you getting that, Yvonne? You see how it can be connected? You're also selling lifestyle.
And passion,
especially with Dominica Tours, and you are selling passion with Dominica Tours, because there's a passion for the community, there's a passion for the environment, there's a passion for the Caribbean through Conscious Caribbean. Yeah. For Angel, you're selling purpose as well. You can also be selling lifestyle. You could also be selling passion. It's just a matter of which zone you want to carve out. But Diane, you are primarily selling lifestyle, but you are also selling a little bit of passion in there too. You seeing how all of these could somewhat be aligned?
Mhm.
Everybody with me?
Totally, yep.
Yeah. Diane, you stay good? You all
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Angel, good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys know traditionally when people are building out the brand, and I've had this happen a lot when I'm working with clients, that I will say, okay, give me what you have for your brand. And majority of the time, what I get from the client is that they give me their mission and vision and core values for their business, like their business plan. But your business plan is not your brand plan or your brand strategy. Your brand plan brand plan or brand strategy comes from that brand promise, which is basically your statement of purpose and your brand pillars. Now, the next step is creating the content. Okay. So, understanding your target, categorizing the characteristics of your target. So, these are all things that you started doing already. Identifying their fears, all of these things enables you to really create leverage or leverage the triggers that your target has. So for Yvonne in particular, for Dominica Tours, you're talking to, when we had gone through the research, we realized that for advertising for Dominica Tours, we need to be looking at France itself. These are individuals who want to come and experience the French Caribbean. You need to be providing solutions. So instead of constantly pushing product or services, you need to be giving value and creating meaningful connections. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that most retailers make when they go digital, is that they're just serving ads and product. And the thing is, people are not on social media to shop. People are on social media to fasten people business. They're there for news. They're there for celebrity gossip. They're there for motivation. They're there for Oprah. I'm there for Oprah all the time. They're not there to shop and buy your products. So when you are trying to create a disruption, or you are trying to connect with an audience, especially online, you have to be creating more meaningful content and looking towards making meaningful connections. Traditional advertising, which is like the radio, TV, print, billboards, out of home advertising, and so forth, they are what we call interruption marketing. So they interrupt your regular programming. You're listening to music, an ad comes on and interrupts you. It's noise, right? Digital is a challenge because you're not just competing with your direct competitors who are deciding to place ads on the TV. You are competing with Oprah. You're competing with Cardi B. You're competing with all of the meme accounts. You're competing with CNN in the grand scheme of things. So when you start drilling down to understand who your target audience is, you would know, for example, Yvonne, your audience would probably have on their social media, they may be a little bit more conscious of the types of accounts they may be following. So the types of people that you may want to go after, they're probably following individuals who are environmental activists. Maybe they're following Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm just throwing it out there. Or Matt Damon. So popular celebrities who are already actively doing, like there's Greta Thornberg. Oh my gosh. That young I think she's
Thunberg.
like Thornberg?
Thunberg.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I only remember her first name, Greta. So they may be following Greta. So individuals who are actively participating in environmental conservation, just as an example, right? Mm-hmm. But Diane, these individuals are probably maybe like the end consumer. These people are probably following self-help accounts. Because as much as you are selling a aromatherapy product, the person that you want to buy this product, who you're trying to connect with, they're stressed out. They're overwhelmed. They're probably a parent, who knows, maybe they're a single parent, maybe they're just a full-time entrepreneur. They don't know that they need your product, but they are already following content or consuming content that makes them feel better. They're actively seeking that. And similarly for you, Angel, right? So it's all about making these connections. It's all about really trying to connect with who you believe your target audience is, and now trying to create content that will rise above the noise online, and that you can then engage with them in conversation. Okay, so how I approach content is like a meal, a big holiday feast. This is based on Anne Handley's content food groups. I've actually, and I'm like such a fangirl for Anne Handley. She wrote this book maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, and it's still relevant. I have reached out to her. She's approved my content food groups, and I've kind of shifted them around and made them my own. Now, the content food groups for me is that at the core of your content strategy, you have what we call the roast. So I don't know, I can't remember if Yvonne is a vegan. I feel like
I'm vegan. I'm just saying, yeah. I'm really looking at you really hard right now.
so this could be a roasted vegan lasagna.
I feel bad because I ain't seen myself on that picture. I'm just teasing.
I need to do something vegan friendly.
I see the grades. I see the grades. I'm with you on the grades.
But okay, so let's think about what that core meal would be at the center of your dining table, right?
Delicious bean stew. Yeah.
Okay, it's bean stew. Now, everything else that you're serving needs to complement the bean stew, right? So your core strategy around creating content should now be, remember, we're drilling it down. You have your statement of purpose. You have your brand pillars. From your statement of purpose, you then define what your roast is. So your roast at this point now targets your wider audience who has no idea who Yvonne is, no idea who Angel is, no idea what Diane sells, but they can connect with it. So my roast for coaching at the time last year was honor your hustle. And I was going after individuals who had a hustle mentality. Maybe they had a side hustle or they were solopreneurs, but there was that power through in hustle. I stopped using it because I didn't know until I did research and started interacting with more people in the region that in some territories within the Caribbean, unlike Jamaica, hustle is not necessarily a positive word. But my core strategy, the roast, was honor your hustle. Okay. I'll give you an example of another roast. When I was working with Red Stripe, their roast at the time was rather have a red stripe. And that was based on the old commercial from the 70s, where at the end, I can't remember his name right now. The guy who's singing says, "I'd rather have a red stripe." But all of the content strategy to complement that roast was all in the sense of, okay, you'd rather have a red stripe because why? Because I'm stressed out at work, because I'd rather be enjoying this instead of being in a massive crowd. It doesn't matter. I don't have to be partying with a bag of people. I'd just rather have a red stripe by myself. So it was really the communication tool. So you want to be able to kind of identify what your core communication tool is in creating content. Okay. The next thing is to identify.
Anika,
Yes.
Before you are you able to move on to grains?
I was going to. You want to stop me?
Yeah, I have a question about roast. Based on the examples you've been giving, is it that a roast or the roast needs to be something tidily summarized or a motto almost, because that's kind of what I'm pulling from it, but is that it? Or is it?
Can be, or it can. So I'll give you another example. Your roast can also be a piece of content, very specific piece of content. So whereas my roast originally was honor your hustle, my roast right now is finding your brand truth. And the content that I have created is this Brandcubator that you all are in right now. So all of my content strategy for my coaching page, my personal brand page, is supposed to somehow complement finding your brand truth and to try and get people towards whether they are engaging with me just by liking my content, but my end goal is to get more people into the Brandcubator. Your roast could also be a book. Your roast could be um, a series of webinars. Your roast could end up being the key message on your website, being like, enjoy the nature isle of the Caribbean. It really is, to make it as simple as possible. If you can identify your statement of purpose, within that statement of purpose lies your roast. You may end up defining that roast as being a book that you want to publish next year. But it really comes from that statement of purpose. I'm hoping that I'm answering you. If not, I do believe that it will kind of come out as we move forward with the other content food groups.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So the grains is or are everyday, easily digestible pieces of content. So if, for example, let's see, I'm just trying to think of another random brand. If you are following, and I love using Oprah because she is a brand. If you're following Oprah, one of her grain pieces of content would be when you see her books that are in her book club. So she will subtly place and it's not even a promotion, it feels very soft, but she will subtly place content or posts around the books, which are then in her book club or somehow tied to a conversation or an interview that she had on Super Soul. So there is always these little bits and pieces, these grains of content that basically keep her audience satisfied. So the people that have been following her, they know what she's about. They continue to follow her because she's nourishing them with these grain types of content. So in the case of Yvonne, and I'm talking about Dominica Tours in particular, people may start following or have been following Dominica Tours. They want to see pictures of the island. They want to know what is happening. They want to know that even though they cannot travel right now, they can still come to your Instagram and look on pretty pictures, right? That's technically your grain content. Now, the next one in the content recipe is what we call greens. Now, greens are high nutrient enriched content. They are educational. They provide your audience who may not have any clue what you're doing. They somehow will come across your content because maybe you used a hashtag that was relevant to a topic of interest to them, or maybe they were searching for something along the lines of stress relief, and Diane's aromatherapy tips comes up across their content feed. But greens speak to your audience on an educational level. So they're giving your audience tips. They're always tip types of content. So in the case for Diane, you could give or serve green content that speaks to how to reduce stress relief naturally. And you don't even have to mention essential oils at all or any of your products. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Angel, when you dial in to your niche and what your statement of purpose is, you could provide green content that speaks to let's see, creating habits, proper habits. And you are then staying top of mind because people find you as a resource. They look to you as a resource. They save your content. The next one is dessert content. So dessert content is the fluff. It's the pretty stuff. It's the fun stuff. These are usually lifestyle bits of content. A lot of the times, dessert content can take the form of what we call influencer marketing. Now, if you can imagine, when you're thinking of a Thanksgiving or a holiday spread, or when you're literally making a plate of food for somebody, you cannot give them too much dessert, correct? You need to give them a little bit of the greens. You have to give them some grains. You need to give them a nice balanced meal, correct? The problem is that a lot of lifestyle brands, when they go online, all they serve is dessert. They serve fluff. They serve the pretty stuff, whole heap of it. And a lot of the time they grow followings. They amass huge amounts of followers. They get lots of likes, but that doesn't mean anything. Why? Because people are just engaging because the content is fluff. It's pretty. They're gonna save it, that's it. But are they then converting to a possibly paying client? No. How you get conversions and move people into what I'm going to show you next in the next slide, being your sales funnel, is through green content. So you want to be offering a nice balance in terms of your content food groups or your content recipe. Is that okay, Diane, Yvonne, you with me?
Wait, Anika and guys, I'm so sorry to be this annoying person, but I just my husband came off a flight, wanted to make sure he was fine. So, and I'm really interested. I heard a piece. I'm essentially asking you to repeat a little bit, if you don't mind.
No problem. What you missed?
Where you were saying that the influencers are heavy on the dessert, right?
Yes.
And that's something I want to know, because when I was talking to my friend about this, this is it. This is the crossroads where I'm about to branch out and do something to honor myself, something that brings me joy and passion. And life coaching, I think, will be it. And she said, yuck, social media. Oh, and I said, look, social media is the way of the world. She thereafter has been on my case saying, the people who matter, the clientele that you want, will not want social media. They will find you in other ways. And I disagree. But then you have, I guess I'm saying, why are the influencers so successful if they're so dessert heavy? Because that annoys me. Dessert heavy content really aggravates me. So why do people like it so much?
So here's the thing, and
because too much dessert makes you feel sick. Like we've all eaten raw cake batter. It tastes good like for 2 teaspoons, and then you feel like throwing up.
That's the exact point. So this has been an ongoing battle that I've had with various levels of clients, right? No, you can imagine, while I was managing the Red Stripe portfolio, and you're talking about like Guinness and Smirnoff especially, and Bailey's, they were heavy into influencer marketing. So they wanted to get some of the celebs and the who's to, let's send off some bottle of Bailey's, let's do this, let's do that. It's all well and good, but it does not convert, okay? You also have to keep in mind that individuals who are following these influencers, why are they following them? The majority of people, and there's no real way to necessarily quantify it unless I were to go into the insights of some of these influencers. But the majority of these influencers, so-called influencers, they have these mass following, but the majority of those individuals probably do not care what that influencer says or does. They're just there for the sake of being there to keep up with the Joneses, to see the pretty pictures, to like, to know what's happening. Are they going to then convert when Angel, the influencer, poses with this phone? Am I going to buy the phone? Not necessarily. She's dressed in a very sexy bikini. Oh, I like it. But it doesn't mean anything. There's a shift happening with influencer marketing where, and I've been doing this with clients, is moving them from influencer marketing into brand advocacy. And this is very, very important, especially for Diane and Yvonne. Brand advocacy looks at what people are now calling micro influencers. So individuals who have probably a smaller following, but who have meaningful connections with their audience. So we're talking maybe they have 200 people following them. Maybe they have 1,000 people following them. But the people who are following those smaller accounts tend to be more qualified followers, meaning they actually care what these people have to say. And what you look for in a brand advocate is someone who's already aligned with your brand values, with your brand pillars, with your even your content food groups to some extent. So good example, and I'm so happy about this. When I was managing Red Stripe Corporate, we were looking at bringing in some brand advocates. And I had recommended Dr. Mario Guthrie. Now, Mario is a very wholesome character. He's an entertainer and so forth. He's also a doctor. But he didn't have this mass following, and he still doesn't have a massive following. But he has the values that are aligned with the brand. Yeah. So it's now changing. And to just emphasize your point, if you're serving all of this cake, sure, people will enjoy it for a while, but it has no meaning to them. There's no value. There's no added nothing. There's no nutrients. So all you're serving is empty content, right? So that's why you need to have a nice balance. Now, in relation to what your friend may have been suggesting, maybe she was thinking about it from the standpoint of people are just not on social media to buy, but people are on social media to consume content. People are on social media to learn. Think about how many things you probably just learned randomly from scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the news. I go to Facebook for the news. I don't turn on news anymore. I literally consume my news on Facebook. I go to Trevor Noah. He's my news.
I recall about 3 or 4 years ago, learning that the millennial generation was the first generation to consume news primarily from social media.
Yeah.
So,
And then the beauty of it is that I mean, yeah, there are ads, but for me, when I want my news, my hard news, I follow the anchors, the international anchors.
Yes.
Like I said, Anderson Cooper, I'm getting the news directly from him. I'm getting the news directly from Don Lemon. I have Trevor Noah for the humor, John Oliver for humor, and I'm getting my news. I get what I want, right? So coming back to it, it's about how you go about selling and what you're selling. So you can't be selling your products or your services heavy online. You're selling a lifestyle, a passion, or a purpose, or a combination of the three. And in selling that lifestyle, passion, or purpose, you now have to connect with your audience in a meaningful way, which is your content recipe. So you can't be going hard with the lifestyle. So Angel, your equivalent dessert content would be pictures of you and your family or you on the beach, right? But you can't be giving too much of that. You have to be giving them some nutrients. Similarly for Yvonne, people want to see the fluff of coming to Dominica, but they have to understand why they're coming to Dominica, right? So is it then that you are showing tips on not necessarily tips, but green content that speaks to the wisdom of the Kalinago people. Five, let's see, just throwing something out there. Five lessons from the Kalinago territory to apply to modern life. Hell yes, like I'm taking that in. I'm going to absorb that content. It may not have direct meaning for me at the moment, but now you've connected with me on a more meaningful level that I'm going to remember that if I ever do decide to go to Dominica, now I want to see what the Kalinago people are about. I had no clue. You've educated me. Similarly for Diane, sure, you want to sell the end result of all of these marketing efforts is to make money. But when you're connecting with people, especially online, or really generally speaking, because marketing in general has to change and is changing, just plain old advertising keeps you top of mind, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to convert to a sale. You have to be connecting with your individuals on a very meaningful, visceral level. So the people that you want to connect to, they're stressed out, they're tired, they're probably sapped for energy. So how can you give them information that will make them feel better?
Anika, I have a question. As you're speaking here, I'm making a lot of notes, and I actually was sending a message to myself to remind me. But what's coming to my mind, I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I do have a video that outstanding to do for Dominica Tours. I am envisioning, I think I sent you the other day, this beautiful calypso, like a music video that highlighted this is an American artist, a British artist with a local musician. But it was a song talking about the Caribbean and Trinidad, but it really was a beautiful promotional piece because the background was showing you different places they'd gone to. So in my mind, if I can incorporate like, not really the static interviews, but you could capture just what you said about maybe meeting a former chief or talking a Kalinago person who says, so you're in the territory hiking or whatever, and you meet this person, you have a conversation, and you get tidbits of knowledge while you're exploring. So for me, that's kind of what I'm getting right now. I'm thinking, my God, and then this guy I have, Bas Van, who is in Dominica now. I just think if I could get him, he loves Dominica. He's from Holland. He's been there like 7-10 times. And international photographer and journalist. Something, if I could get somebody like that and get that video. So it's just not the traditional tourism.
No, not at all. Exactly, because if you can get that person to just ask not even the chief necessarily, but just average citizens in Dominica, what does Dominica mean to you? Just make all of those people answer that one question. And you get those 10 little responses. That content will be invaluable. And you see average people, right? Then you can get the chief to give a response here. You could get a tourist to give a response there, right? But it gives life and breath and soul to your brand.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about the beach. And it's not just about hiking.
In the background, while the person is talking, you can have images showing. And I want to have music. I want to have really sweet, so that it's almost like a music.
Here's the thing: keep it really simple. This does not have to, and this is one of the beauties with social media. Although great content should look refined. You don't want to be posting a blurry picture or anything like that. But you can get away with a lot more organic content that feels organic online. So a video of me just talking in my pajamas, not necessarily on brand, but would probably do a whole lot better than me talking in a suit. And that's actually probably more on brand for me.
Yes, I listen, as a follower of you and your brand, I had those two images juxtaposed in my head, and
who is that?
I'd be like, why? No, that's not Anika.
What is she doing?
I much more would resonate with you messaging from your bed saying some, rich than But that's
Exactly.
because of what I associate with you and your brand. So what you're saying speaks to me. I mean, your brand to me doesn't, it's not the tailored, polished suit, and you know
Mm-mm.
it, you speak to us very directly.
Well, and that's the thing. And just that you said that just shows, and that makes me feel good because then that's that my brand is me. So if I'm wearing like a blazer, best believe I'm like probably having on like Crocs or Converse sneakers. Like I
I,
don't wear heels unless it's like a torture device or I have to.
I would disagree to a certain extent, if I
Yeah.
may. I would more see Anika in, let's say, a t-shirt and jeans or whatever with her son on the side, and she, she's given like, hey, and so, but she may be checking homework. My vision of more active, more engaging, more this woman who is busy, she can handle it, and hey, she's doing it, I can do it too. When you're in bed, I guess I'm very much into active living.
Yeah.
Bed, like I'm tired, and to me, you don't invite people into your bed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a bed is a private space. And I wouldn't say it's disrespectful to your audience, but I think that's your private space. Where so to me, I think a bed is very, that's just my thing. Yeah. I would more
But
see,
here's the thing, Yvonne, because the
that's why I'm
the
sharing.
only those little intimate bits and pieces are
Uh-huh.
only privy, of course, to family or whatever, but for individuals who have followed me and are in like following my stories,
Right.
they don't see me in bed, but they'll see me like highlighting lines in a book that I'm reading in bed, or they'll see me cuddling up with Seth, or those little bits and pieces.
Yes.
But it does go to show.
Oh, I love that. I mean, we should have captured that. That's so cute. Yes.
Sir, I'm teaching though. You okay?
Yes.
You have dinner?
Which one of them? It's fine.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, Angel. I like that image and everything. I wanted to sort of throw that out to get her reaction. I'm Monica, don't get me wrong. I'm not, I mean, not like I'm against it. I was just kind of throwing out that my reaction to kind of get your response.
Yeah, no.
I enjoyed hearing. I was nodding and smiling, Yvonne, because it's so intriguing to get perspectives, because I will be selling a product. I'm sorry, I'll be selling a service, not a product. And the first of all, I'm so sad I haven't been able to join earlier. This is just fantastic. Listen, I'm a cursor, so persons who follow me will be aware of that. So cover your ears if you're a holy person. But Anika, this is fucking fantastic. I just love it so much already.
That's why I don't want to have once a week. I want Anika twice a week. Let's not just set it back to once a week, guys. This is such a
Yeah, but if you're going to have 9 more days, if you're going to have 9 more days,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
I'm holding on to that, Diane, but I feel like the kid who's like the parents are gonna say, no, she missed too much school, she has to repeat grade
No,
4.
but everything is recorded, so you'll have it. Like you will have
but
the
here's the
opportunity to go
thing.
back right now and do
True.
your purpose statement, and we will still on the WhatsApp. We'll still comment. We'll still share.
Yes.
This is so encouraging.
No,
Team. Love you guys.
it's not high and dry, and it's not cut and dry, and so it's about pacing yourself and really enjoying it.
And the SSN, the network that I
Right.
really want to create, that's supposed to be lifelong. Like I want that to continue.
Yeah.
Anybody who's in the SSN, I see webinars happening in the future at least once a month, where everybody can come
Right.
back together and I give a webinar on a particular topic. So this is ongoing. I'm really about creating a community. It's not just about a one-off training. Like Gail could tell you.
But Anika, what I think is a good idea is that you could have like a sort of subscription, so people pay a minimal amount to
Yeah.
be part of that, so they're part of your tribe, And
That's
that-
actually the goal. My whole plan is there because I do have an SSN membership. So I'm gonna add you guys into the membership pool, but give you basically like grandfather you in for free.
nice.
But going forward, there would be tiers within the membership. So there's like just I think the first tier is like $10 or $15 a month. And
Okay.
that gives you access to the community and access to like the free trainings, like once a month,
Right.
exclusive content, that kind of thing. That's all stuff that I've been building over time.
Excellent. Excellent.
But the Brandcubator, and just for context, since we just touched on it, it's not just me. So I'm bringing in other experts as well. So if you, and I don't know if any of you are really following me on Instagram, I had a conversation, or have been having conversations with various experts on entrepreneur mental wellness.
Mhm.
And one of those experts is a psychotherapist. She's currently in LA, or is it Portland? Can't remember. But I have a handout from her that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Like, you're getting all of this stuff first, but anybody in the network, they will get access to all of these little tidbits from all of these other experts too. So it wouldn't just be me. I'm bringing in other entrepreneurs to mentor you all too, and you are there to then support each other as well. We have strayed. We have
Okay. No, but
strayed.
Anika, no, just one last thing though. I think
Yeah.
I'm very interested. It's a B2B. It's really the opportunity for us to trade amongst each other. So you have your, not only do you have that where we are, if you will, we are part of your team, of your tribe, but that you can maybe even categorize it. So, hey, I want somebody to do like what Diane does. I want somebody
Exactly.
really, because I think one of the things we don't do, have a platform where we in the Caribbean can trade and keep our money within the Caribbean. We're so
Exactly. It's really about the network. So one of the other things is to provide a kind of directory.
absolutely
Yes,
creative.
so every month, my plan is that all of you would then be able to say,
Mhm.
I'm in Yvonne, I provide X, your statement of purpose. And then you are then able to say, I need X. I'm looking for X, I'm looking for X, I'm looking for X. And all of these people within the network will then get access to that list.
Mhm.
And I'll say, oh, Yvonne needs a life coach. Let
Mhm.
me head into Yvonne's inbox. So that's where the network is going. And why I have been doing this very quietly. So I didn't advertise the Brandcubator. I really just want to test it out, build out the network slowly. I'm about long game. And my hope is to launch the network officially before the end of the year.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I'm following you now on Instagram.
Yay! All right, so we've strayed, but I want to get through this. So the last item on your content food group list is what we call hot sauce. Now, hot sauce is supposed to be cancel. Sorry, this thing in front of me decided to listen to what I was saying. So hot sauce content is response provoking. It inspires engagement. These are things like asking people questions about sustainability, what practices they are doing themselves at home, in their average lives, in their businesses, asking people how they manage their habits. My hot sauce content is seemingly passive, but whereas I don't get heavy engagement maybe on my posts, I get a whole lot of engagement privately. So a lot of people will message me about mental health. They ask me questions. They tell me that something was meaningful to them because they don't feel like sharing publicly. But the point of hot sauce is to inspire conversation, whether it be amongst your audience or with you directly in your inbox or in the comments or in email. Okay. All right. So we had mentioned funnel before, but this is what we call a sales funnel. In this regard, I have modified the sales funnel to align it to your content pillars or your content recipe. So just for a little bit of context, ignore what is on the right side first. As a matter of fact, I'm going to skip through to the next slide and come back. I don't want anybody reading nothing. Okay, here we go. So sales funnel, as you can imagine, a funnel, it's wider at the top, narrower at the bottom. Your aim with a sales funnel is to capture as many people as possible in the mouth of the funnel. Understandably, with time, people are going to fall out of the funnel. They fall out, they lose interest, they're not interested in your products. Maybe they can't buy right now, whatever the case is. But as people move through the funnel, you narrow down who actually converts at the base of the funnel. Okay? What we call the top of the funnel, tofu, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, mofu, bottom of the funnel, bofu. Okay, so now I'm going to skip back. Now, in the sales funnel, traditionally speaking, at the top of the funnel is awareness. Next level down is consideration. Next level down is intention. Final level is decision. So at the awareness level, you're at this point trying to reach as many people as possible to get them to be aware of your brand and what you do and what you offer, right? To get that through content, you need to be serving dessert content. You have to continuously nourish your audience with the greens, and you need to give green content. So this is how you capture attention widely. And the challenge, however, is keeping that attention. So once somebody now says, oh, I'm going to follow Angel, she has these great tips on how to improve my habits. Or I'm following Yvonne because she's all about indigenous wisdom. Or I'm following Diane because she's helping me with my stress, right? As you go further down now, you have to get into the consideration level. So once you caught their attention, now it's about trying to push them into that level of, okay, why am I here? This is when somebody may go to your website, they may come to your profile on social media, they may decide to, maybe they may check out what you have to offer on your blog, maybe they may decide to sign up for a free consultation. At this level here, this is where you really have to communicate your statement of purpose, which inevitably should be also your roast or connected very closely to your roast, okay? Now, when you've gotten their attention, they're now considering, okay, I am thinking about booking a tour. I am thinking about maybe pursuing coaching services with Angel. I am thinking about, you know what? The next time I go to the pharmacy, I'm going to look for Diane's stuff. All right. In this stage here, this is a tricky stage. This is where you have to be nurturing the relationship very deeply. So in this area, you need to start keeping your audience filled up with the green content. So they've started following you with tips. You got to keep them going with tips. You want to be serving constant greens. You have to be nourishing them. And you want to fling in a little dessert, make it fun, make it inspiring. Because if you're giving somebody, I'm sorry, Yvonne, too much greens, too much salad, without a little sweetness, it's going to be too heavy, right? So you need to have a nice balance in there. And the hot sauce is how you really get them engaged and jazzed up. And they're like, this person understands me. They know what I'm feeling. And that is also one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about going slow with my own personal growth for my brand. Because I am in my inbox with my followers. I can't be managing a whole bag of people at once. So when somebody messages me and says that I had a hard day today, I'm having a conversation with that person because it's really about nourishing and nurturing that relationship. Now, in the final stage, where it's the decision level, this could be anything. You could have a conversion funnel to get someone to inevitably buy your services. You could have a conversion funnel to get someone to schedule a consultation with you or a free assessment. You could get someone to convert to following you on social media or signing up for your newsletter. You can have a conversion funnel just for attracting visitors to your website. You can have multiple funnels. Next week, we're dealing with the real funnel building stuff. Okay, I don't want to get stuck on it. But the point of really drilling down into identifying statement of purpose, your niche, who you're talking to, laying that foundation, building it up with the pillars, and then filling those gaps with your content, this is the point of it. It's all about creating meaningful connections so that you can reach as many people as possible in a meaningful way and pull as many people as possible into your funnel. And it's not just about nurturing that connection, but creating a loop so that anybody who falls out of the funnel, they inevitably go back into the funnel. So I may not be able to come to Dominica at all right now, not at all, but in 2 years' time, best believe I am planning a trip because you've kept me within your funnel. You've kept me nourished. You've kept me educated. I'm learning all about the calendar of people I had no idea. Like I have to go and visit. You've kept me in this loop. I may end up buying another aromatherapy product, which I have many of. I have bath salts from Diane. But when I start seeing Diane giving me all of this content, the next time I go to the pharmacy, best believe I'm looking for Diane's product, right? So it's really about creating what we call top of mind or keeping top of mind. And I'll give you a good example of a brand who does this, especially in Jamaica. KFC. KFC does not need to advertise in Jamaica. They don't have to. They don't have to. KFC gives ackee and saltfish a run for its money, in my opinion, for the national dish, right? Just frankly, even if you don't eat chicken.
Unfortunately.
Well, unfortunately, but
Unfortunately.
just loosely speaking, it is almost ingrained in our culture. Now, I'll mention again, KFC does not have to advertise. They don't have to. Why do they do it? To stay top of mind. That's the only reason. So you are inundated constantly with these
To
ads.
stay what, Anika? Why did you say they do it?
It's just to stay top of mind.
Mm.
They don't have to. It's because they want to inundate you with the ads. Keep them right there so anytime you see red and white, oh, I feel for KFC. It doesn't matter, right? So inevitably, and I like using big brands as an example because you're competing with these big brands, whether you're on a small scale or not, because your audience by default is exposed to all of this constantly. So you are in a space where you have to be engaging at the level of a big brand. Okay? Everybody is good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So tofu, mofu, bofu. Now here is a little breakdown of what that means. So when you're creating an ad or you're putting out content, at the top of the funnel, you know, what feeling does your ad or your content evoke? At the top of the funnel, you want to be creating intrigue. You want to be connecting with your audience, like where they feel like you understand them, you get them. Diane just knows some stressful, like that she knows, she understands me, right? You want to be meeting them with some amount of reciprocity. You want to be giving them knowledge. The objective at this point is to create awareness and interest in your brand. Examples, green content, tips, blogs, lead magnets. So a lead magnet, have I defined this for everybody or do you want me to define it now?
Yeah, please.
Sign it.
Okay, so a lead magnet is and I don't have a specific definition right now. Okay, a lead magnet is basically a piece of content which is offered for free in exchange for that individual's contact information. So I am magnetizing leads I'm pulling people towards me to get them to give me their information so I can give them in exchange a piece of content which gives them value. Okay. So I have lead magnets, and you'll find lots of lead magnets. Chances are all of you have downloaded a lead magnet and you just fell into the funnel. So a lead magnet can be an ebook, it can be a checklist, it can be a subscription to a newsletter, many, 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 many things. Okay. Each of you could come up with lead magnets immediately. Angel could come up with tips on how to improve relationships with loved ones. Yvonne, you could give 5 tips immediately on sustainability practices for businesses. Diane, you could provide tips on how to reduce stress before bedtime. All of these are lead magnets, okay? At the middle of the funnel, what you're trying to convey, or the feeling you're trying to evoke rather, is trust. You're trying to build trust. You're trying to build community. You're also giving validation to your audience for their feelings, their emotions, what they're going through. The objective here is to nurture and build a potential relationship with these individuals. You can do this through webinars. You can do this through email marketing. You can do this through even quotes. Quote posts are good. And you can do this through Hot Sauce. Hot Sauce is asking for feedback, putting out polls, putting out little questionnaires. People feel like they're involved when you ask them a question. You're now deepening the relationship with that individual. At the bottom of the funnel, it is really about affirmation. It's about confirmation. It's about belief. It's about approval. Not just for you, but for them. They feel like you believe in them. You've pulled them into your funnel and they're like, okay, she gets me. I'm backing her up. She's gonna back me up, and you move forward. This is the stage where you're converting to a sale, or you are moving that person to that final conversion. So remember, I had mentioned it could be a visit to your website, sign up to a newsletter, sign up for a consultation, purchase of your product, purchase of your services, whatever your final conversion is, that's inevitably where you want to move people to. And you have to do this through that sense of affirmation, where somebody's like, yeah, they know what I want and they can provide it for me. The way to go about this is through dessert content, fluff content, in the sense of getting a testimonial from someone helps. What people also call this is social proof. Because bottom line is, out of all the types of marketing, word of mouth marketing is still the most powerful. So when you get a reference from a friend to join this class or to buy this product, you're more inclined to buy it, right? So by getting social proof, serving social proof, it helps to move people into conversion. And Hot Sauce through a webinar, it also works too. So Diane might be like, why am I going to be running webinars? Diane, you could run so many webinars that would possibly give you brand recognition and brand resonance if you're communicating with people based on their triggers. So I'll just give you a good example. Last year, you know the brand Brunswick? Yeah.
The sardines.
Yeah, sardines, tuna, tin fish, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I have a mom group called Island Mom, and Brunswick came on board to do a series of talks. I think we call it the Mom Show. They wanted to call it the Mom Show. I was like, that's kind of boring, but in any case, they sponsored these series of talks, and it did really well. It created more brand resonance for them. But you can bring into conversation topics that are relevant to batches of people who fall within your target segment. Moms are stressed out.
Yeah. I've done a lot of stuff with elderly people for pain relief, because we have some really great pain relief, and it's really an arthritis blend.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it with the Lupus Foundation and
Oh, excellent.
some of my, senior Keep Fit people and stuff like that. So, like you said, targeting different groups. I know you're using stress as
I always go to that because I use
Yes, I know.
aromatherapy for stress.
No, I know. And most
focused.
people only think of that as relaxing, but
Yeah.
we pinpoint and key in, all kinds of other things, women's issues, circulations. So when Gail was asking me the other day, why do you want to say the 15? Because people who like you all now will want to say, well, okay, I'm having an issue with pain, or somebody who's having an issue. Let me check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And people will realize that we can fine tune it and really go much deeper. Like you were all talking about the cannabis treatments. That's going to be a whole. Right now, it's very expensive in the traditional market.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm about to launch some mass market treatments because I'm not using a lot, but I'm using a really, really good strain with other great products. And
please can I be a brand advocate, please?
Sure. Right now, it's all being shipped to Canada because the developers were Canadians, and I can't even get my hands on it. But it's just going to explode.
I love that. But so, you see where your green content comes into play, because
so this is when the natural products.
Diane, you just literally gave me a green content, because I never associated aromatherapy with healing properties. It's
right.
It's stress. It's to de-stress. So
right, and so even like to interact with you for your clients, lifestyle. I'm reading a book called Small Changes right now, and it's talking about just doing little tiny things, even like just having a cup of chamomile tea or a cup of mint tea we do in the Caribbean. But so many small little things that you can do and just expose people. And that's that whole educational thing that Yvonne keeps talking about. When you educate your client, they just want more and more and more and more and more. And it's great.
Yeah. So you need to nourish that relationship.
Yeah, I'm
trying to develop content.
Yeah, I'm developing that side of it, and like you said, the webinars and COVID has propelled us all to use Zoom a lot more. So but as you know, when you're a small entrepreneur on your own doing everything, sometimes some things fall through the cracks, and that's why I'm here with you, because I want to have a digital presence.
I got you.
Diane, I know time is up, but I just think that's an excellent point. And if we could share among ourselves some of the tips, because in terms of how to fit that in, how to do it, how to upload it. Anika just told me in terms of I could do stuff on Zoom and then upload it to YouTube. I think a lot of those things, the time it takes to research stuff, and I am into quality, so I'm not going to put stuff that I think is substandard. I'd rather not do it, but I realize
but
can't wait for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. We can't wait for the top quality. We just need to do it. But if we could share among ourselves how we fast track, because I think so often it's just you have to stop what you're doing to try to figure it out. And if we got tips, it means it's so much more.
Yes, but you had a perfect example today with your breakthrough. You had a session with Anika,
right?
And that just propelled you.
Absolutely.
And so it was that one-on-one, and I think, Angel, when you start your one-on-ones, it's just endless, and the results will be so great. I mean, I have customers in Jamaica. I'm Chinese. I have customers in Jamaica that call my office and they're like, "Where's Miss Chin?" They don't even know my name. They just call and they're like, "Where's Miss Chin?" And they hear that I'm like, "She's not here. She's in China." They're like, "Okay, tell her to call me when she comes back." They don't want to talk to anybody else.
Mm.
Because I might have given them a sample of a sinus relief blend or something that, they were
You
having some
made that
ailment that day.
meaningful connection.
Right. So it's that one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
connection.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the little girl. I walked in and I think she was sneezing. And I said to her, "What happened to you?" And she said, "Oh, I can't stand it." And I said, "Okay, hold on a little bit. I have the same problem." And I just reached into my bag and I dragged out a little bottle and I said, "Here, have this and
Mm-hmm.
try it." And, and then I got on a plane and went away for about 6 months. And this child called every week.
Aw.
So again, it's that whole connection and really sharing details and, just educating people.
And you see, the beauty with social media is that you're able to make mass meaningful connections
Yeah.
if you do it the right way. Yeah. So here's where we're going to round off tonight. I'm not giving you guys an assignment tomorrow or for the weekend. I really inevitably I do want you guys to identify what your content recipe should look like. And this will be complemented with a worksheet that I'll be giving you all. I'll more than likely provide it to you guys over the weekend. But for now, you've gotten a whole lot of information today.
Mhm.
I want you to focus on finalizing your brand pillars because that is essential to even looking on your content recipe. So finalize your brand pillars. I'll work on I'm not so sure. I'm gonna I'll check in with you all in the WhatsApp group to find out how everybody is doing because I don't want nobody to miss out on the brand pillars. You can't go anywhere without figuring out your brand pillars.
Okay.
So your assignment, I'm
Mhm.
holding off. Your next assignment, rather, I'm holding off. I want you all to really focus on identifying your brand pillars before I give you anything else.
Okay. Will
I'll
you
be
send?
sharing this recording with you guys tomorrow. So you'll have this to maybe rewatch over the weekend. And maybe I will provide you with the next worksheet. It just depends on what your feedback is in the WhatsApp group, how you all are doing, because I really want to make sure everybody's good with the brand pillars before we move forward.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
I was just asked, I wanted to find out whether you're going to send us a Google Sheet again for the brand pillars, or do we do it individually on
That
our?
will be done individually. You're going to get an individual worksheet. Or, well, sorry, for the brand pillars, you can just do that on your own. You
Okay.
didn't need a specific worksheet. For your content, the next stage, that's a whole worksheet, which
Okay.
I'm not going to give you until I get feedback in the WhatsApp group with how everybody is doing, because I don't want you moving forward until we have firmed up this foundation.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
No, just thank you very much. This was wonderful.
Yes, truly wonderful.
One
Lovely
last,
to have met everybody.
one last question though. Same here, Angel. Wonderful meeting you. Should I go on, since I've come up with the conscious Caribbean concept, should I redo my statement of purpose?
Not necessarily redo it, just see if it
Do another
feels
one.
good. Does it align with it?
Okay. All right.
And then your next step would be to create your brand pillars for the Conscious Caribbean.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Okay.
You're saying something, Diane?
Oh no, I was just saying thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I get like a high after any of these conversations. I love teaching. Love teaching. And for me, this is teaching. This is
Absolutely. Well, you're a born
Yeah.
teacher, girlfriend. And
thank you guys. Have a
Thank
good night. I'll check in with you in WhatsApp.
Wonderful. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great weekend, okay? And thanks.
Bye bye, everybody. Night night.
Bless you.
Night.
Okay, bye-bye.